Hey guys, it's Kaz here. It is the first Monday of the month, so what does that mean? It's Media Monday. This is a video where I just talk about stuff that's not to do with books. Stuff that I've done, seen, experienced throughout the month. So obviously, let's talk about all the stuff from August. So, like usual, I'll talk about a few things that I've watched first, and then we'll get into the other fun things. So, first of all, Critical Role, Mighty 9. I watched quite a few episodes in August, so this is something that I've been watching for a while because there's 141 episodes. I think there's technically 140, but there's like also an episode at the end that wraps up and everyone talks about the whole campaign, so 141. Bearing in mind, these are like 3 to 5 hours long each, so yes, it is a commitment. And I watched 11, I think. I watched 11 episodes in August, so impressive. I'm currently on episode 108, so pretty much very close to the end, wrapping up stuff, and it's just so good. This is a D&D campaign. It's a bunch of characters doing things and fighting things and buying things, and it's just so good. And yeah, I'm so close to the end now, it's crazy. And then I'm going to be watching So Mighty 9 is the second campaign from Critical Role, and then I'm going to be watching Vox Machina, which is the first one. I did attempt to watch that first. I think I managed one episode, and then because it doesn't start at the beginning of the campaign, it was their first thing they did, so the audio and visual is not as good. But now, because I love the Mighty 9 so much, I want to go back and watch Vox Machina, and then after that, in several years, I'm then going to watch campaign 3, and by that time they probably would have started a campaign 4, so it's just like ongoing forever. But yes, Dungeons and Dragons, a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors sitting around a table using their words to make a really cool story, and it's really good. We are currently in COVID times though, where I am at the moment, so it's a bit of a blast from the past in that way. But yeah, amazing, good, brilliant, great. Let's move on. Another thing I watched was The Umbrella Academy, and I know so many people have moaned about this ending. I thought it was alright. I don't hate the ending. I don't hate this season. A lot of people are just like, oh. But on the other hand, I'm just like, I don't think there's ever a way that the series could have ended that a bunch of people wouldn't be upset or annoyed at it. Like, when it's a show like this, if you've not seen The Umbrella Academy, these bunch of babies were all born on the same day and they have powers, and then this dude collected a bunch of them and put them into like a school, and then like the world keeps ending and they have to try and make it not happen. But yeah, I feel like there is no way that it could have ended without at least like a section of the fans being disappointed or annoyed or it not standing up to what they're expecting. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I didn't mind the ending. It was fine. And I had fun watching the season. A lot of people have moaned about this whole season. There's a few bits and pieces that people are really annoyed at. I'm just like, nah, I'm not mad at it. I enjoyed it. So yeah. Another thing I watched was this Netflix documentary series. It's 3 episodes and it's called American Nightmare, I believe. And this is a true crime documentary, and it's really weird, but it's so interesting to watch, and you'll be infuriated by the police because, you know, that's what they do. But basically, the first episode is this husband of a, no, not husband, this boyfriend of a woman. He goes to the police and he's basically like, policeman, we were woken up in the middle of the night, we had lights shining in our eyes, there was a bunch of people there, they like sedated me, they put headphones on me, they played this weird music, they took the girlfriend away. It was like this really weird, far-fetched story to the point the police were like, I don't believe you, you've murdered your girlfriend, we have no proof and we're not going to look into anything that you've told us, we're just going to tell you that you're lying. And yeah, it goes from there. There's 3 episodes, and the first episode, it's mostly based on him and him recounting what happened. The second episode is the girlfriend. So she was kidnapped and taken and weird things happened, and she's finally released eventually, and she goes to the police and she corroborates the story, and the police are like, Gone Girl came out last year. You're lying. You're both doing lying stuff. So then they were done. They got like, what's the word? Charged with filing a false police report and wasting police times and all this jazz. And like, it's absolutely insane here. I feel like I want to spoil it for you because it's like, is it spoilers? It's something that really happened to real people. It's true life, it's true crime, but it is really weird and over the top. But also, in the synopsis, it does say that like these people were treated like this by the police. So like, yes, the stuff does happen, and it gets really strange and really infuriating on the police's point. But yeah, it was really good. So American Nightmare, if you're interested in like true crime documentaries, especially weird ones with different twists and turns, very much recommend that one. And then I'm going to talk about 2 films that I watched. The first one was Jackpot. This is, I can't remember if it was on Vine or Prime. I think it might be on Prime actually. And it's got John Cena and, is her name Aquafina? Them 2 in it. And it's like a very near future reality where in one American state, I can't remember which one it is, like New York or LA or something, in an American state anyway, there's a lottery that goes out and then people have 24 hours to murder the person who was won, and then they get to keep the money and not get done for murder. It's a comedy. That sounds like it could be really dark, like The Purge sort of thing, but it's a comedy and it's very silly and it was just a fun time. I enjoyed it. Aquafina, I'm still not sure if that's her name. It's something like that. I might just be making that up. It's something like that. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. She's from out of town, so she didn't even know that this thing is a thing. So she's like, why are people trying to kill me? And yeah, it was just one of those films that's just a fun time, a popcorn flick. Just sit down and turn your brain off for an hour and a half and just have a fun time. I enjoyed it. And then the other film I watched was The Crow. Now, can you remember earlier when we was talking about Umbrella Academy and people not liking that? Well, people do not like The Crow. People are hating The Crow. The Crow is a remake of The Crow. And yeah, there are some strong opinions and thoughts and findings. And you know what? I didn't hate it. It wasn't a great film. It wasn't necessarily a good film. I'd probably give it like 5 out of 10. But I don't hate it. I don't hate the fact that I saw it. I don't wish that I didn't see it. There were 2 main factors that made it not live up to the potential. Because Bill Skarsgård is a great actor. He looked the part. He's really cool. There were some really cool fight scenes in it. There were some really gruesome fight scenes in it. It was cool. But the 2 main things that made it not work for me, and for everybody else in the world it seems. Number 1, the pacing was totally off. So if you don't know about The Crow, the whole point of The Crow is like this dude and his girlfriend gets murdered and then he comes back for revenge. But like, they don't even die until about halfway through the film, so the pacing is really off. The first half of the film is just them 2 getting together, and that's not what the point of The Crow is. We don't need all of that. It doesn't help you get attached to the characters in any way. It's not necessary for this story. Like, the small montage would have been enough. We didn't need it in like a full time half the film. So that's the first problem. That should have happened in the first, I'll even give you 20 minutes to get to know them characters, and then they die and then he comes back. But it was like half the film, so yeah, that wasn't the best. And the second point that made it not work properly, for The Crow especially, it's all about revenge. And it felt, and this is going to be spoilery if you've not seen it, so deal with it. It felt very disconnected. It was very much like in the first, like the original film, a gang brutally raped and murdered his girlfriend and murdered him. Like, it was very personal. But in this remake, it's like the dude at the top of a corporation, so it's like henchmen that he's murdering, so it's very unpersonal. It is not getting revenge on the people that did it. He's just killing like the hired hands, if you will. So it doesn't have the same effect as the original one is, because it's not like him getting revenge, getting the purses. It's not that. So yeah, even though there were some really cool fight scenes I very much enjoyed, like the whole end scene in the opera was really good. And it's a shame because that shows what this film could have been, because the way it was shot and the like everything that happened in that scene was really good. So if the rest of the film was more like that, it could have been a really good film. But unfortunately they spent too much time on these two characters, and to be honest, like, you never really care about them as a partnering either. Unfortunately they don't do it well enough that like, oh, these two people are in love. It's more like they get together because they're both in a bit dark places, and you don't really feel like that real big connection. It's just sort of two messed up young adults having sex and liking each other. So it doesn't even feel like there's that much connection. So yeah, those are the two main things that didn't work. But like I said, I don't hate the film. I don't hate the fact that I saw it. I enjoyed it. There are definitely some scenes that are really cool. I like Bill Skarsgård. So yeah, everybody else fucking hates it. So those are all of the watchy things I'm going to talk about, and we'll just go and have a bit of a cat clip, and then I'll come back and talk about some other stuff. Do you remember Monster's old house from the vlog? Well, this is his new house. Oh, he's got a little eating area. It's got a little sleeping area. Bless him. So one thing I did end up doing in August was go to Cambridge with my sister. So fun fact, October last year, my birthday's in October, my sister did a little secret trip going to Cambridge. She was like, oh, I'm going to take you somewhere, we're having a day out. I'm not going to tell you what though and where we're going. So we went to Cambridge, and like, we specifically chose Cambridge because the Scott Polar Institute is there, and you know how much I love polar travel. It was just closed randomly on that day that we went in October. For no reason, it was just closed. We got there, we got to the door, and there was just a sign on the door like, SARS, closed. So yeah, now August, nearly a whole year passed, we went to there and we actually got in and we actually walked around and looked at it and saw the polar stuff, and I very much enjoyed the polar stuff, so I very much enjoyed the time. There was some really cool ceiling, let me get over here, there were some really cool ceiling paintings that were in the entrance when you got in there. One for the Arctic, one for the Antarctic, and around the outside it had all the names of like different explorers that went there, which is really cool. Obviously Amundsen was on both because he was a G. And yeah, it was just really cool. There was loads of different bits and pieces, and it talked about not just obviously polar exploration, but also other things like the Sami, that people has a bit of them and their culture and stuff. And there was like a whole section of Scott, obviously because it's his museum, but also like he's the lamest, but it had bits for everybody else as well. So yes, finally went there, finally got to have a little look around. I picked up a couple of things as well. You'll see in my haul I actually picked up a book from there. But yeah, very much enjoyed that. And then we went to the Botanical Gardens in Cambridge, which was really nice. We had a nice little cake and cup of tea and was wandering around, and there was like this little stamp thing that you could go around and for the kids and stuff. Although if I saw that I would have got one, but I did not know there were stamps there. But yeah, it was a really nice time. There was loads of cool plants and stuff, obviously. There was loads of birds. We were sat watching the birds because they had babies for a while. And after that we did an escape room, because when in Rome or in Cambridge or anywhere, escape room, exactly. We did one at Cryptex, which is the same place that we did one in October when we went to Cambridge last time. And it was called Tarot, and it was like, it was based on you had gone to get your tarot cards read, and the witch, the woman doing it, was like, you got some bad juju, I'm gonna lock you in here, and then I'm gonna like come back in an hour and murder you all because you got some bad juju, and like I'm not letting you out. So we had to do all the puzzles to turn the tarot cards over to make it like good instead of bad. So that was a fun time. There were definitely some puzzles in there that we'd never seen before, which is always a fun time. I've said fun time so many times, but it's just fact, innit? But yeah, there were a bunch of different things in there that we'd never seen before, and it was just good. Obviously we smashed it, we got out there. It was funny at the end though. There was a bit right at the end where one person gets taken away, and to like get them back you have to put on their birthday. I think it wasn't even like, no, it was the what's it called? Wait, I'm a Libra, it's my sign. Your signs, zodiac signs, that's the one. So yeah, my sister went in this bit, and there was a thing where it's like, oh, you have to say, I think it was like the birth year, and then what sign they were, and my mum was like, Aquarius, and I was like, no, she's not, she's a Virgo. And she's like, oh yeah, that's me. You birthed her and you can't remember what her sign is. So that was quite funny. But yeah, there were some tough bits in there. There were some bits that we overthought. We always do this in every escape room. There's always something that we overthink, and we're like, oh, it must be this really convoluted thing, and it's like completely not that, and it's something way more simple. That is one thing we do need to like try and like take a step back from. When something's so over the top that we're like trying to think about it so much and like, what is this? We need to learn to take a step back and think maybe that's not how it is, because people would never be able to actually escape from this room if that was how this was worked out, because that has taken a long time. So yeah, that is definitely something we need to work on. But great time, and that was Cambridge. Another fun thing I did was I painted plein air for the first time, which is French. It basically means painting outside, on site of what's in front of you. So I've been wanting to do this for years, and like every time I go on holiday I always take a palette, because I do with my journal and stuff, and always in my brain I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to take it out and while I'm out and about and paint, but then I never do, because obviously I'm really busy because I'm on holiday and I want to see all the things, and then it's also a bit scary because I don't like people. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do something public, it's weird and scary. But I told myself, you're going. So I went to Nottingham, and first of all I went and had food in a pub on my own, because why not? Treat yourself. I had a main and a dessert in a place that I can't remember the name of, but it was just opposite Nottingham Castle, because that's where I went. I was going to go to Woollerton Park, but it was raining, and I was like, I don't really want to go out when it's raining to Woollerton Park. This is a park in Nottinghamshire. Is it Nottingham? It's in the main Nottingham. And it has deer and stuff. I still want to go at some point soon, but I didn't want to go painting watercolour when it was also raining. So I went to Nottingham Castle and I sat under some branches. Luckily there was a bench there, there was seats there. I already knew the seats were there from last time I went to Nottingham Castle, and I had my umbrella up and stuff, but because it was raining a little bit drizzly, there was nobody around, so it wasn't as weird. So I wasn't scared of doing stuff. But yeah, I even filmed it a little bit. I've not like looked at the footage. I don't know if I'm going to put it out, but I did do a little thing, so I thought it might be fun to like, oh, my first plein air thing, and then like create an actual kit. So yeah, that is something that's possibly coming in the future on the channel. I don't know, I filmed it, but we shall see. But yeah, it was nice, and I definitely want to do it again. The more I do it, the less scary it will be. I don't think my picture was like amazing in any sort of way. It definitely has not got enough values in it. There's not enough dark colours in it. But also on the day, if you look at a picture of the actual castle, it was just all like the same sort of colour, because it was a grey sky and the light was all flat. But yeah, it was nice. And then I went inside for a bit and had a little peruse of the gallery. And yeah, it's cool because if you get a ticket to Nottingham Castle, you can use it for a year. So I want to go there many times, just so it's like, I can, let's do it, you know? Another fun, interesting thing I did was one day, I think it was actually the day before that I went to Nottingham Castle. In my local town, they knocked down a building. It was an M&S, and they knocked it down. I think they're going to build flats there, because that's what they do everywhere nowadays. It's like, build a flat, build a flat. But they found like cool ruins underneath it, so they've shut off the building site for a while. There was getting all the stuff out there, and they opened it up for one day to come and have a look at the artifacts and stuff. So obviously I went out and had a little look. It was really cool. There was this one, like the main thing that made it exciting was they found a full skeleton of a horse in a tar pit, in an old, no, not a tar pit, in an old lime pit. And it just looks really cool, obviously, the visual of like a skeleton, and that made people really interested to go. And it's funny because we were talking to like the people, there was different people there from an archaeology place, like they stopped the work of the digging and they got proper people in to look at it, and they were like, everyone's excited about the horse, but that's like the thing that's the least old. It's from the 1800s. There's stuff here there's walls from the medieval times. Like, the horse is the least interesting bit. But it's like, for people that don't know about that stuff and are not that interested or not that knowledgeable, obviously like the visual of seeing the horse is more interesting than like, oh, you see that little bit of thing there, that's a wall from medieval time. But it was really cool. And it was also really cool because of that visual of the horse. Loads of people came and loads of people were interested. One of the guys actually said the last time he did like an open day somewhere that they were doing archaeologists, I don't know where in the country they were doing it, he said 2 people showed up, and like there was a never-ending queue when I went. I was stood in the queue for about 20 minutes, and to the point where they had people like talking to pockets of people. They had different archaeology guys of their people like standing down the queue to like tell bunches of people at a time about the site and what they found and stuff, and the well and the walls and the lime pits and all that sort of stuff. So it's really cool that that many people were interested. So they had the site there, and then at the back they had different bits and pieces. They found some other bones and stuff because it used to be a farm bit, and there was pottery. And it's funny because the horse, I'm sure everybody was looking forward to seeing the horse. It was in a box, it was in a plastic box, because obviously as soon as they tried to move it, it was a skeleton, it's all in pieces. So yeah, it's cool though. It was really enjoyable. I very much enjoyed going there. So, and it was just really nice to see that many people interested in that sort of thing. And then last but not least, this is so weird because I've always seen myself as not a lucky person in any sort of way, but last month, if you watch my last month, right at the end I talked about some pens that I won. Well, this month I won another thing. I paid 99p to enter this competition, and I won. I won a Magic the Gathering Commander deck, animated armies. I would show you it, but I don't have it like as a deck now. I don't play Commander. Magic the Gathering is a card game, and there's different versions you can play it, and one of them versions is a Commander, and I don't play that. So I've already like split it up. I've already put certain cards in some decks that I already have, and everything else, it's a red and green deck, so everything else has been put with my red and my green cards. So I can't show you it physically here, but there's a picture there. And yeah, it was just really cool because you announced my name and I won it, as if I've won something two months in a row. Last month, well, the last month to this one, I won some Caran d'Ache pens from Jackson's, and this month I won a Commander deck. The luck's going up, maybe. Back in the day, I used to be the most unluckiest person, to the point where like everything used to hit me in the face. That sounds really weird, but when in my teenage years, this is a tangent that's got nothing to do with anything, but I'll tell you, like, I used to get hit in the face of everything. It's such a weird thing, but like footballs, basketballs, frisbee, that one hurts. Somebody frisbeed a frisbee, another person hit it with a bottle of like 2-litre bottle of drink, and it hit me like that, bang, made my nose bleed. Like, to the point where one time I was on the bus. We had a bus that took us to college, and somebody had like a little shitty BB gun they got from the pound shop or something. They were shooting it, it was just going, they aimed it at me, bang, it shot. They aimed it away, it didn't work. They aimed it at me, it shot. And I was like, this just proves that something is just against me and it's just wanting to hit me in the face. But now I've won 2 things in a row in 2 months, so maybe the luck's going up. Maybe my face is alright now. Maybe it's safe. We shall see. I'll probably get hit in the face with something today just to like the universe be like, don't get too big for your boots, bang. But yeah, that's all the things I've got to talk about today, and also an extra bit about things hitting me in the face. Yeah, say some stuff if you want. Tell me something that you did or watched in August. Did you go anywhere cool? Did you do an escape room? Did you watch anything interesting? What are your thoughts, if you've seen them, on The Umbrella Academy and The Crow? Because both of those things have got really bad views so far. So yeah, let me know down below. Do the things if you want, like if you want, comment if you want, subscribe if you want, but only if you want. And yes, I'll be here in a few days with another video. Bye.